Hi, thanks for joining us for Devotionables, brief devotions for busy people. We have made it, the event in which the entire book of Exodus is named after, the Exodus. And so God has shown up. He heard, He saw, He knew the plight of Israel in bondage to Pharaoh and the Egyptians, oppressed, the tyranny, the hardships, the suffering. He shows up and through His servant Moses, He saves the people of Israel. They've been let go. Pharaoh has finally conceded, fine, go serve your God, worship Yahweh in the wilderness, all of you this time, right? Not just women and children, not just men, not just with no animals, right? Everything. And God had moved the hearts of the Egyptians to plunder them by just asking, and they get all this gold and silver and treasure and food and things. And on this night of nights, so to speak, God sends and God kills the firstborn of every living thing, man and beast. Now this would have included the Israelites, except they believed. And by faith, they slaughtered the lamb, the Passover lamb, put the blood over the lintel, over the doorpost. And so now God is calling them out. And it's the Exodus. It's the moment where they now lead. And they leave, led by God, leading them by a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day. God is with them, leading the people out. And as they've gone out, He tells Moses, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart one more time. And Pharaoh and the Egyptians, what have we done? Oh no, we've let the people go. We were, all this labor, all the things they were doing for us, we will pursue them. And so now you just feel like, man, if you were reading the story, if you were watching this on film or something, if they were able to, here's Israel, they're leaving. Here comes Pharaoh and all his chariots, and they're chasing after him. And they begin to cry out to Moses, why did you come and get us? We would have rather died in Egypt. And they're in great fear. They call out to Yahweh. And the Lord tells them, hey, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. I will harden Pharaoh's heart. I will get glory over him. And He hardened the heart of Pharaoh, so he's chasing after him. And He tells them again in verse 18, that the Egyptians may know that I am Yahweh. I am the Lord, not these other gods I have just done, all these judgments against, which Derek Hopper did a phenomenal devotional for us a couple days ago about that. And then He tells Moses, put out your staff over the Red Sea. And overnight, the Lord moves from out leading in between. He moved in between the camp of Israel and the camp of the Egyptians. And He caused a wind to blow and wall of water. The seabed is now dry. And He tells Moses, go through. It's on dry ground. And as they go through, then Pharaoh begins to follow. And the Lord causes the waters to come over Pharaoh and all the Egyptians. Verses 29 through 31 of chapter 14 here. After the Lord had confused and caused the chariots and the army of Pharaoh to be all cluttered and confused, and this is what Moses writes, but the people of Israel walked on dry ground through the sea, the waters being a wall to them on the right and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day, right? We looked at that last time. To the day, 430 days, from the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Israel saw the great power of the Lord used against the Egyptians, so the people feared the Lord. They believed in the Lord and in His servant Moses. So, okay, about 30 seconds left. I got to be quick with this. When the Lord Jesus shows up, there's a moment of transfiguration in Luke chapter 9, Mark 9, and accounts in Matthew. And Luke tells us He was discussing with Moses and Elijah His departure. The word there is Exodus. The Lord has brought a new Exodus for all of His people through His suffering, through His death. In God's mighty act of salvation comes judgment. It is through Jesus' sacrificial death that He absorbs the wrath of God intended for you and me that we look to him in faith, we're not consumed, but we walk through dry ground, so to speak, metaphorically. That picture there, and we are saved. That Jesus is our Exodus. That he sets us free, not from Pharaoh, but who Pharaoh spiritually symbolized. That is the tyranny, the oppression of Satan, sin, and death. And what a great salvation that is, that you see the power of Yahweh and that you fear. As the psalmist says, with you there is forgiveness that you may be feared. When God acts, we respond in fear, in faith, and in fervent worship, as we'll see in Exodus 15. God's blessings on you today.